We start with introductions from Dylan, who builds large data platforms at Treatwell, and Stylianos, who has 10 years of experience as a data scientist.
I've been working in data for the past 9 years, and recently I've been building the data platform at Treatwell.
Say anything from I work in artificial intelligence, if people have heard about this before, to I analyze data to an IT professional. An honest description is that I extract insights from data, but that's very generic.
Dylan and Stylianos then give a quick overview of what data means in a modern company.
The main goal is to help the company make data-driven decisions. The idea is that whenever a manager or a stakeholder wants to make a business decision, it's very easy to just take a gut feeling and just go with it. But if you have the data backing up why your decision is great, then that will definitely help the company move forward and lessen the risk. My role in this is to help all our stakeholders make these decisions as easy.
You can either automate stuff or you can discover hidden insights in data. We optimized the server energy allocation and we reduced costs by 10-20%, things like that. You can already do this with business analytics. The difference is that now that machine learning and more powerful algorithms have become very popular, you can do more interesting things.
Data serves the purpose of powering up the business, to supplement the business, to help it go in the right direction. Without knowing where the company is going, it's very hard to create the right data for the company. Therefore, we must see the data very close to the company's biggest business problems.
If a company know what they're looking for in the data, then you make a data scientist's job more easy and efficient.
In order to produce good solutions together, we first and foremost really understand what the problem we're trying to solve is and scope out fully with full information how best to go about solving this problem. The way we usually do this is we sit down with each respective team's manager and sometimes even the team members themselves in a collaborative approach and figure out what the company's goals are and then figure out what goals should we working on together collaboratively.
Now we discuss how data professionals work in organizations, starting with building data pipelines and data wrangling, and concluding with data modeling and the generation and promotion of insights.
Usually an analyst goes through different types of phases, such as, for example, in the first part, they will be exploring what the problem is and what data is there to be able to understand how to solve it.
You ever been in the situation where you had to go on Excel and do some pretty boring stuff to be able to use some data? A large part of the work around data science is on wrangling data and this kind of stuff. Data wrangling and manipulation and slicing and dicing. It's an inescapable part of the job.
Next stage usually comes in the experimentation phase, where one is still trying to solve the problem, but has, let's say, some kind of model that they want to try out to see whether it's going to work or not.
If the data is clean and tidy, and then the interesting bit is modeling, where you have to try out different models, different approaches. Models are really the bread and butter of data scientists. So every time I talked about a recommender system, about automation, about predictive systems, you have a model. The whole field of machine learning and statistics deal with the creation of better and better models for specific tasks. It's how self-driving cars work. It's like a bunch of models stuck together, one to rig the road, another one to steer the wheel. I guess the way we try to go about artificial intelligence these days is to simply add more and more models and complicated models on top of one another.
And then the third phase is the productionization of that problem. Once they have understood a new insight, they should go out and try to convince everyone in the business to follow this insight. We make use of new open source tools to easily push the data together, join this data together, so that one is left with a good understanding of what this data really means. This understanding will help the stakeholders create insights upon the decisions that they're about to make. And therefore, with the enabling of some dashboards to easily communicate this data to other people in the business, we're helping the company move forward.
We finish by asking Stylianos and Dylan who they tend to hire for when they're looking for data analysts, data engineers, or data scientists.
Even though the elements of data science have been there for decades, or in some cases 200 years, when we're talking about statistics, so data science itself as a term is fairly new. So there's not one unique set of skills that people need to abide by.
From my point of view, I usually tend to look for problem-solving skills. When one is tackling a problem, one needs to really understand what the problem is before embarking on its solution.
If I was going to hire a junior, I just look for someone who looks like smart and has some solid skills in the fundamentals. And then I'm like, I can work with this person, and they're just going to grow with the company.
Data people, just like software engineers, need to work in their own teams, in their own domains, collaboratively with all the other people in the team in order to move those teams forward. And therefore, yes, the analyst's role is very much a technical role, but at the same time, it needs to also be a very people role in order to create really good relationships and move the teams in the right direction.
These days, someone who calls themselves data scientist, as opposed to business analyst, for example, they have very good technical skills on topics like algorithms for data analysis, machine learning, probably know Python or R. They have basic computer science skills around topics like databases, etc. The data engineer deals with databases, so they expect to create a database, store data, be able to extract data, make sure that everything runs efficiently and smoothly, and the server is always up and running and all that. Whereas data scientists, they will deal with analyzing this data.
We usually look for SQL skills and Python skills. But what that really means is a good understanding of how one can derive and transform data in different tables, and a very basic understanding of how to make a transformation run, let's say, on a daily basis without failure.
Let's say if I get, let's say, graduate and I see they can code in Python, they can access a database, they know how to use some algorithms, and they have some understanding of how the machine learning pipeline works. Then I know I can work with them.